Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. I smell that smell of tariffs in the morning. Sounds like inflation. All right. Listening to the mouth breathers on the far right, echoing Trump's points how tariffs are going to be great for the economy and they're non-inflationary, and it's like, and China's going to pay for it, that type of thing. Trump's floating the idea of 10% across the board tariffs, 20% on certain items, and 60% from anything from China. The argument goes it will make U.S. goods more competitive because the imported goods will be more expensive. And it'll be a huge revenue generator, and it's really going to help the government get out of its debt, type of thing. And it's not inflationary. Well, here's the problem. They are inflationary. Even though one study in 2018 showed that some companies cut their profits to offset the tariffs. Let me tell you something. After we've been through COVID and watching companies jack up their prices, yeah, maybe they don't. Maybe they just keep their prices the same and still make awesome profits. But given that they found that they can blame supply chain issues for high prices, they could also do the same thing with tariffs. Now, we have to charge you more because of these tariffs. Wouldn't that be a shocker for MAGA Nation? But a tariff basically works. I'm going to give you a quick explanation. This video will probably start at the 5-minute mark. Let's say you buy 1,000 t-shirts from your manufacturer in China, and they cost $10 a t-shirt, and you plan on selling them for $15. Your t-shirts, I own the libs and I got this great MAGA t-shirt. So you pay $10 for it, you go to Trump rallies, you sell it for $15, you make $5 a shirt. When you order 1,000 shirts, you're going to make $5,000 when you sell this inventory. Okay? That's the idea. Or maybe you sell it to some vendors at a Trump thing and they sell it to you for $20 because they want $5 a shirt too. But you get the idea. We'll keep it simple. You pay 10, you sell it for 15, $5 net times 1,000, $5,000. Now, if Trump, let's say he puts a 50% tax on Chinese goods. So that $10 t-shirt is still caught, the guy buying it has to give the Chinese manufacturer the $10,000. $10 for 1,000 t-shirts is $10,000. But now there's a 50% tariff on it, so that $10,000 is actually $15,000. Well, it's not the Chinese manufacturer that pays that $5,000. It's the American importer. So he has to pay $5,000 to the government. So that's $15,000 total. $10K for the shirts, $5K for the for the tariff that you pay the government. Well, he was going to sell those originally at $15 a t-shirt, and if he sold all 1,000, he'd make $15,000. He's paid $15,000, and he sells for $15,000. It's break even. That's no good. So the only way he's going to make money is to raise the price of the t-shirts. Let's say he still wants to make $5 a t-shirt. He's going to have to sell them for $20 rather than $15. And when he sells them for $20, he's going to get $20,000 net minus his $15,000 expenses, $5,000 profit. So who pays the $20 for the t-shirt instead of the $15? The consumer. So from the consumer's point of view, his $15 t-shirt went up to $20. So that's about roughly a 33% increase in his cost. Which means the extra $5 he spent on that is $5 he can't spend on something else. Add mass deportation in there, and all your food prices, your meat prices, your produce prices go up. And that's something you can't not do. You have to buy food and eat it. You're going to have to pay tariffs on all your produce. Well, not tariffs, but you have to pay a lot more money for your produce because you've got rid of the immigrants on it. And not all the produce is grown in the United States. Coffee, for instance, you're going to be paying a lot of money for that. And they're like, well, what about American companies? Well, if it was cheaper to buy a I Own the Libs t-shirt in the United States, they would have been buying it there already instead of China. And the American companies, maybe they sell their t-shirts for $17.50. Well, now if the Chinese t-shirts are $20, maybe the American companies raised their price to 19, so now they undercut the Chinese prices by $1, but they've raised their prices $1.50, so they can make even more money. Tariffs don't make sense. But I want to look at the energy around the Trump tariff plan and how it's going to impact the U.S. economy. And then we'll follow it up with how it impacts MAGA in particular. Okay? Entertainment purposes only. Foundation of the reading is the Four of Wands. Well, it's bringing stuff in from out. It's going to be welcomed. Here's the thing. Trump is, you got to hand it to him. He's a great salesman. He could convince over half the population that tariffs are a good idea and to embrace them. And that they're going to make lots of money. And it's going to be good for the economy. It's going to be good for this. But here's the thing. Who's it really good for? It's good for wealthy people. If you buy $1,000 worth of groceries a month, if you're wealthy, maybe you buy $2,000 worth of groceries a month because you buy better. You're having steak more often or something like that. But for somebody making $40,000 a year, or something akin to $3,000 a month gross, which is maybe about $2,500 net, paying an extra $100 on groceries is going to suck because you don't have that much money left over. For somebody who's got makes $500,000 a year or $40,000 a month, and maybe a net of $20,000 a month, paying $200 more for groceries a month, that's not even noticed. The wealthy will do really well with tariffs because they will actually pay less taxes. And then you're going to have all that money working for you for wealthy people. You're going to have a bigger divide. In the past, the King of Pentacles, these are the American oligarchs. They don't want to be taxed. They don't want to be taxed ever. To them, it's their money that's illegally taken from them, redistributed is what they like to say, and they want all their money back. Current situation with the tariffs is that it's taxing overseas goods, and you sell the notion that, it's stronger for America. You have to pay a little bit more to make America stronger and bring these jobs back home. And some manufacturing jobs will come back to the United States because of this. That will happen. But who's going to be bearing the brunt of it while that happens? Overarching energy is temperance. The changes, the impacts of tariffs aren't going to be fully felt initially. These companies are smart enough to know that they have to ease these price increases slowly over time. Basically, you're slowly poisoning the population with this. Raising them up a little bit here, a little bit there, until the full tariff is being paid by the consumer. So they won't do it overnight. They'll do it slowly over time. The lesson to be learned, the people with the money will always want the money. Tariffs aren't going to be... If tariffs were truly fair, you'd be putting tariffs on luxury goods, not on a blanket across. Now, is it more fair to have a blanket tariff? Sure. But the playing field isn't level. Wealthy people will be much less impacted. Poor people are going to be more impacted by this. Outcome is the Four of Coins. What this is going to do, it's going to start restricting the U.S. economy and economic growth. Because guess what? Again, if you're a type of person that buys $1,000 worth of groceries a month and you have to pay an extra, $100 for your groceries, that's $100 that you can't spend on your Trump t-shirts or going to the movies or investing it for your retirement or your financial future. So what do you start doing? You start cutting back. You start not buying things because you just can't afford it. And then, like that Four of Coins, it starts restricting the economy. Trust me when I say this. Businesses do their calculus. If that guy with the t-shirts, he has done the calculus and he knows that $15 is the sweet spot. That's where he will sell all his t-shirts and make max profit on it. Within, let's say, within a month, he wants to sell all those t-shirts in a month. He'll know that if he priced at $15, he will sell them all in a month and make his $5,000 in that month's time. If he charges $20 a t-shirt, maybe he only sells half of them because people don't want to spend that extra $5. So 500 t-shirts at 20 is 10,000. I'm sorry, not $20 is going to give him a $10 profit. So he might break even with it, but he might have to pay more taxes too. It's going to be expensive. People will, as the prices go up, people will buy less of stuff. Long and short of it, because you just can't afford it. You can't afford to go into debt. Get your car repoed. A lot of people are getting their cars repoed because they overextended themselves, probably with free COVID cash and not commuting and stuff like that. They had more money going around, so they bought cars, and now life is returning to normal. Now they can't afford these cars. A lot of repos. How will MAGA be impacted by these tariffs? MAGA, generally speaking, fall into like a couple of camps. One are, older people. Older people with money. I would say older wealthy people will tend to fall more into MAGA because they have a financial interest in not paying the tax, getting the tax breaks from Trump. It's going to be older people. Some are not, and they're not going to have much money. And then it's younger people younger white males that don't have a lot of money and they don't know how the math works. So most of those folks don't have a lot of cash coming in. Therefore, those expenses are going to go up and they're going to have to bear those expenses. How is MAGA going to deal with increased tariffs? It's going to make their life a lot harder. They've literally taken on this extra burden and they can't even bear it efficiently. They're going to do the heavy lifting on it. They're expected to do the heavy lifting on it, and it's going to make their life less happy. They're already a miserable group of people, and now they're going to be more miserable because dear leader said, hey, I need you to be a patriot and do without. The messaging is be a patriot, pay the goods. We're going to make America stronger again, but you're actually making America weaker. So they're going to start suffering with it. And some might start realizing, maybe this wasn't the greatest idea. They might start looking at things a little more closely here. In the past, you got the Four of Cups. How's MAGA going to take it? They're not going to believe it at first. They've drunk so much Kool-Aid that they just keep drinking more and more. They're not going to believe that the tariffs are the U.S.'s fault. It's that, no, the foreigners paid the tariffs. But slowly the cup of truth is going to come to them, and they're going to start realizing that they didn't understand what they voted for. Current situation, when life gets rough, they get angry. Right now they're angry at the Democrats, and everything always gets spun as the Democrats' fault for this, the Democrats' fault for that. It's going to take them realizing it's not the Democrats' tariffs. This has always been Trump's plan, and they voted for it. They might start getting a little bit upset. How come he's punishing us? We're his loyal supporters. Overarching energy is temperance. The goal with this is to slow the tariffs so that MAGA doesn't leave. They don't go leaving, that they stay angry only at Democrats but not get mad at Republicans. That's going to be the challenge or the goal of companies. How are they going to be impacted by it? Again, I don't think MAGA is going to believe it at first because they're always in their emotions. If they felt like Donald Trump got the better of them and lied to them, they might slowly start moving away from that because it's a bitter pill to swallow. That's if they start understanding how these things really work. For a lot of MAGA, it doesn't matter. Dear leader is dear leader. That's why it's a cult. Drinking your Kool-Aid as much as possible. Out comes the justice card. But this is just, it's kind of like the messaging of, but this is what you voted for. Remember? You own the libs. You wanted those tariffs, so we introduced those tariffs. We told you to be strong, to be a patriot. What did you expect was going to happen? They won't get it. A lot of them aren't going to get it. But I guess the other thing to look at that is they only get it when they suffer. They don't have empathy until they're the victim. And then they start to get the understanding, and then they want justice. Don't expect this to happen overnight. Don't expect that many of them will ever buy it because they're just not that bright. Critical thinking skills are on low simmer. Not a rolling boil. It's a simmer and the lid's not fully on the pot. There's a whole lot of steam that escapes and not a whole lot of bubbles coming up at the bottom of the pot. I don't know what else to ask on that. Will the world card came in there? Closure? It's just how are will they be bothered by the fact that tariffs are going to be used to justify tax breaks for the wealthy? Because that's the other thing that Trump is trying to sell folks on, allegedly. Tax breaks for the wealthy and tariffs. Illusions and delusions. They don't get it. It's like trickle-down economics. They don't understand it. If Dear Leader tells them it's fine, it's fine. Star card, messaging, the Sun card, and the Two of Wands. They will buy it for a while because Dear Leader said so. He's on, as seen on TV. Be a patriot, and everything's going to be fine. You just watch. And then they watch and they wait and they wait and they wait. Maybe one day they get tired of waiting and they understand the real truth as to who benefited from this. But, okay, as optimistic as I can be, we're not going to see any, I don't think we're going to see really any appreciable change in Donald Trump's supporters. They've been bamboozled by his words. They believe him over objective truth, and they will, if things get more expensive, Trump will blame the Democrats. He will play one of two things. He'll either blame the Democrats, well, that always happens, right? And he'll also, when he can't blame them really, he'll shift tact and basically say, you're being a patriot. That he'll make up stuff like, yeah, it's expensive right now, but we got all these new companies coming back. They're going to be building America. We're just, the goods are going to get less expensive just around the corner. It's just around the corner. It's 2 years from now. It's 6 months from now. I have the concept of a plan. I have the concept of an economic plan. They have such short memories, and they don't have good critical thinking skills. And it's sad. And they will suffer. And they will be mad at the Democrats somehow. Their gas prices really aren't going to come down unless the war stops in Ukraine and Russian oil is on the market again. The price of eggs isn't going to come down. The price of produce is not going to come down. It's going to go up. Price of meat's going to go up. Service industry prices are going to go up. Service is going to get lousy. And if the prices don't go up, the prices stay the same, the level of service decreases a lot. Kind of like what they want to do with Social Security. They want to cut back on Social Security. They want to cut benefits. They'll probably want to raise the retirement age. And the amount payout would be frozen or something along those lines. You get a higher inflation and you freeze the standard of living. It's eroding the value of that money because of inflation. And the whole time he'll just tell you, this is the most wonderful, greatest idea ever. All you have to do is believe me. It's going to be a difficult time if it comes to pass. Thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. These readings are for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you find them insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.